Oh. Stop it. You're making fun of me? Are you making fun of me?
I was sniffing all
Let me check the front. Oh, right here.
Thank you.
I swear there.
Some ventilating minutes and 15 balls.
There were,
Yeah.
We're waiting for Peter.
A hush is falling over the crowd.
Hush.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry to keep everybody waiting. All right, just wanted to say that we called the meeting to order this evening at 5:54 PM. We did a pledge of allegiance and roll call. And then at 5:56, we adjourned into executive session and adjourned from that at 7:01, where no action was taken. So we do have some new business to discuss tonight before we get started. So may I have a motion and a second for agenda items A and B, which is the school district agreement for consultant services and an appointment of the impartial hearing officer.
I'll make the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. And may I have a motion and a second to adjourn the voting part of our meeting and enter into the study session of our meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moving on. Approval of the agenda, any comments? We'll be voting on this next week. Being none, okay. Minutes from the previous meeting, are there any comments on the previous meeting notes or previous meeting minutes? Sorry, we'll be voting on these next week as well.
Yes, I have one comment.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if Phelan had recorded my comments because there was a whole lot of information on that page. Looked pretty accurate, but I didn't think I spoke that long. Did you actually record it somehow and rewrite it?
Yeah, it's rewritten.
Okay, thank you. I'm just curious.
Well,
how
they're
that
on
happened.
YouTube.
Huh?
It's on YouTube, right? The
Yeah.
meetings, so.
Yeah.
So you can go back on YouTube and
Okay. Either that, or she was a great note taker.
She's really
Yeah,
bad.
I'm not bad. I can't take credit for that.
Okay. That's all I had to say. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. All right, so communications, we have had a few from the Erie One BOCES Board of Education, a call for nominations, and we've had letters from two nominees, Jeanette Plar and John Sherman, who are both incumbents for those positions. Does anybody else have any other communications? Seeing none, we will move on to unfinished business. We have none. So that leads us to Dr. Genestri and the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Belanti. We wanted to start the meeting tonight with a few honors that we wanted to put forth to the board and recognize. We first want, Gavin, come on up. We are super proud to honor Gavin Flatow tonight at our board meeting. Gavin was recognized all over social media, but we found out from BOCES this week that he was the first place winner in the Skills USA competition for electrical wiring, which is a massive competition. And to come in first place is truly an honor for him and for Sweet Home. And we wanted to make sure that he got recognized by the Board of Education tonight for representing Sweet Home in such a fantastic manner. We're super proud of your work. Keep it up, and thank you for representing Sweet Home in getting this honor. It's truly a great moment for the.
Great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So, congratulations. Gavin, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey.
And we have a couple heroes in the audience tonight that we need to recognize as well. So we do a lot of things as a school district and as teachers and educators and administrators. You know, our first and foremost thing is to protect our children, and the safety of them comes first and foremost. So when Sue and Liz were faced with a tough situation, they responded quickly to make sure their student was taken care of. So we had a fifth grader that was in distress after eating a burger, I believe, and that student unfortunately began choking on that burger. And Susan Paris immediately started to administer the Heimlich on our student. And then Liz came and started patting the student on the back until the food was dislodged from the student's throat. Obviously, the student was in distress and scared, and they reacted so quickly to take care of the student and really save him. And that was just great work on their part. We are fortunate to have them in our district, and we wanted to recognize them for their quick action and for being heroes here at Sweet Home. So thank you for your work. Thank you for doing that. And we'd love to get you up here and recognize you as well. So come on up.
Turn for a picture.
Smile. I think I got you.
Thank you.
Thank you for knowing what to do, both of you. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Congratulations. You're welcome. Congratulations.
Hello, how good are you?
Right. Okay. So now we'd like to enter, what's that?
Would you like to let them?
You let them leave.
Oh, you don't want to watch? You're more than welcome to stay for the next part, but if you have other obligations, you are, and I see you have one there. You're more than welcome to depart, but congratulations.
Yes.
And thank you.
That obligation is much more important.
Yes. All right, we wanted to invite Mr. Feldman up for our budget study session number 2.
He's not ready.
He's not ready. I'm, listen, never mind. There's a joke there, but I won't go there. Thanks, Dr. Genestri. We've been working pretty hard on gathering information since we last met in February, kind of going through some items in the budget. We had to do some mandated reporting based upon feedback relative to the tax cap that we talked about again in February from that end of things, and are coming back to you to report kind of a real-time look as to where we are with the budget, knowing what we know right now. There are unfortunately, many details that we don't know as of yet that will have some pretty significant impact on the budget going forward. But this gives you kind of a snapshot as to where we are today, March 10th. So just this slide is a reminder. We use this slide in every presentation. But this is just kind of gives you a snapshot of what we have had to do and will have to do relative to the budget. We did file our final tax cap calculation to the New York State Office of the State Comptroller prior to the March 1st deadline, and we'll talk about that shortly. From a school board candidate We do have one seat that's open. The term of Mr. Belanti will end on June 30th, 2026. So those that might be interested in running for the school board, we do need to have their nominating petitions returned to the district on April 20th. And then the last day, next line, the last day for the board to adopt the proposed budget is April 24th, 2026. We intend to hopefully adopt the budget on April 22nd, I believe it is, or April 21st, whatever that Tuesday is of that week. We do have to submit our property tax report card to the state by April 27th. And then we have to do a public hearing on the proposed budget, which ours is on May the 5th. And then, of course, the annual board election, as well as budget vote, happens in this room on Tuesday, May 19th, from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. So to this point, as again, this is just kind of a processes that we've gone through. We've done initially in January and February, we have gotten the executive run on the state budget in January. We're using those numbers to kind of estimate our revenues at this point in time. We've met with each of the department heads as well as all of the building principals to get a sense as to what their budgetary needs are. We do have our BOCES participation services meeting has taken place, and we're working through kind of finalizing that. And, we did present, again, as I mentioned to you earlier, we did present on May 7th, kind of what we call a program maintenance budget, where it is a rollover budget from year to year. And that is based upon, again, the executive proposal that comes out from the governor's office in January. So tonight, we're really going to give you kind of just an update from that end of things. Dr. Dinestri will touch briefly on staffing from that end, because we have been working at looking at a number of different scenarios. And again, I'll just caution you as to where we are right now. We are awaiting a number of things to come back that do have some significant impact on the budget. We will present our third and final, hopefully, iteration of the budget on April 14th, 2026. One of the dates that I do want to remind the board, April 1st is the timeline that the New York State budget is supposed to be passed by. So we will hopefully have our final state aid numbers by that point in time. As I mentioned to you in February, this is my sixth budget in this seat. Four of the five previous budgets, New York State has not passed their budget on time. New York State has passed their budget, in fact, after you all have voted on our budget for the coming year. So hopefully April 1st, Dr. Dinestri has met with many of our district area legislators from that end. The news is that they are shooting to have it and the budget done by April 1st because it coincides with Passover, I believe, from that end of things. So we've been told, my fingers are crossed and my breath is held, but we've been told that we'll be done, that the state budget will be done by April the 1st. And then we will do our budget hearing and our budget adoption on April 21st, Tuesday, April 21st. So to date, this is what we've done to get to this point tonight. We have, again, based upon your feedback from our last meeting, we are recommending a budget that goes right to the tax cap. We'll talk about the tax cap in the next slide. But it also includes many of the bus purchases that we talked about in our February meeting, and we'll get into more detail on that shortly. Again, the feedback that I received from the board based upon some of our budgetary issues the last couple of years with increased special education budget, out-of-district placements, contracted transportation. My recommendation to the board and to the superintendent was to try and build a budget that does not use our reserves as a budgetary closure method, a gap method from that end of things. We've had to rely pretty significantly on our reserves the last couple of years for a number of reasons. So we're really working hard to try and build a budget that does not rely on our reserves to close any budgetary gaps. We have spent a significant amount of time going through the budget line by line to realize any operational savings. But going forward, and where we are now, and I'll let Dr. Dinestri just chime in on this in a second, but we are working through, as you know, we've had 12 teacher retirements ending in June. Their careers are ending in June, and we have to look at its overall impact on our staffing plan as well as our budget. We have met collectively with the administrative team to talk about additional needs from the admin team in terms of a budget. So we have to talk about that, including staffing. We are working to the service employees contract with our Service Employees Association is up at the end of June. We are in the midst of contract negotiations with them now. Our next session happens later this month. We've made progress, but we're still working through some things. So hopefully we'll have some more solid information as far as that goes in time for us to vote, the board to vote, on the budget from that end of things. And then we do need to continue to monitor any updates on state aid. As you know, our state aid came in at about 1.5% of an increase. And Dr. Dinestri again has spent some time with our area legislators that, there's sentiment, and we've heard it at the business official level as well, that the minimum increase might be more in the realm of 2%, so somewhere between 2 and 3%. So a percentage for us in terms of state aid on our overall budget is about $260,000. So for every percentage point that we go up from 1.5, it's about $260,000 in revenue that we didn't realize before. And then our sales tax piece, again, that's one area of significant budgetary impact that's paid out by the county quarterly. So we'll have our third quarter payment come at the end of this month in March, and we can analyze that and make recommendations based upon projections from that standpoint. We have about $5.7 million, we do have $5.7 million estimated in total sales tax revenue for next year. Depending upon how the third quarter comes in, that may need to be adjusted from that end of things. And then the last piece, that last bullet there, we are still waiting on information from the New York 44 Health Trust on numbers for our health contribution, premium contribution increases. We have, as you know, about 6.5% increase budgeted for right now. My understanding is the Finance Committee met with the Board of Trustees at the New York 44 Trust today. They made recommendations to that trust, and we hopefully will get numbers by the end of the week. Again, anything over and above that 6.5% or so would represent an increase in the budgetary gap. If we get a double-digit increase, a 10% increase on our overall health insurance premium from year to year is about $1.4 million to the district. So we've got budgeted at about 6.5% right now, but if we get to those double-digit numbers, there are obviously consequences to that, and we would have to take a closer look at closing probably a larger gap. Dr. Dinestri, I don't know if you wanted to talk at all from a staffing perspective at all or anything like that.
It's hard to make some decisions now without a full picture of where we are. I've been given encouraging news that there hopefully will get a state budget on time, which means we will know our state aid number. I've also been told that it's going to be at 2% or possibly between 2 and 3. That makes a significant difference as well. And then the retirements, there were 12, actually I think 13 because we have one today that will be on the agenda next. But some of those positions need to be replaced. And so we have to work through that, and we're trying to really balance this and not go over what we need to replace and not be under where we can't close the gap. So we're going to look at everything really hard, and without hard data and hard numbers yet, it's hard to make the determination of where we want to go. I wouldn't be I have to say, this year, it looks like our federal funding will come through. Next year, that's very much in question. And that's to the tune between $5 and $6 million, which is a very scary number. So a lot of factors coming into play, and not knowing what the trust number is going to be for New York 44 is really hamstringing us. Don and I talk about it probably 4 times a day, where we're going to be with our health insurance contribution. Not knowing that number right now makes it very difficult to make decisions to close any gaps. I can tell you we are looking at every line, penny for penny, and making sure that we're not duplicating services, we're not over-servicing in areas. And so the goal is always, to keep our programming where it is at. And we're going to try very hard to do that. But the numbers are, I think the 1% is a tough pill to swallow when we've been practically at 4%, 5% state aid, foundation aid increases year after year, which has been helpful to balance the budget. So got some work to do, need some better data, and we expect that data to come in with the next few weeks. Yes.
And maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but at some point, did we talk about self-funding for our health insurance? Was that ever, a few years ago, I thought we kind of brought that
We did
up.
it. It was actually a number of years ago that we attempted to do that. This was before I was in this seat. I was actually part of the Shasta team at that point in time. But we did look at doing it, and
The
the
cost, I
consultant-
remember cost of.
we had difficulty. What I will say is at the time, the hang-up was, as I remember it, the trust was less than helpful in relinquishing experiential data. So we couldn't get a fair price from, if we were to go self-funded. I will just say that a number of districts since that time frame have gone to a self-funded model. It's something honestly that we've talked about kind of going forward.
There's an advantage
I don't know, there's not an opportunity to get that done in time for
this year, of course.
this year, but it would be something that if the trends continue with foundation aid, there's only so many areas that in a budget that we can cut. But when I look at it in a $108 million budget, and we are paying close to $14 million in health insurance, that would be an area that we would have to strongly take a look at.
So maybe for
I had-
next year, that would be
Yep.
something, because I know there was a pretty hefty discussion about that.
When I was in Albany for Lobby Day last week, I had a couple of discussions with colleagues about the methods they've taken or the steps they've taken to go from the trust to self-funded. I think it's definitely worth exploring. We're going to have to engage our bargaining units in that conversation from the start and the get-go. But I think we're going to do that and look and see if there is potential savings there without impact on benefits. I think that's going to be important.
That's the
That's
key.
the big thing.
That is the key. It's obviously a heavy lift. It's a lift that can't be done overnight. And as Dr. Genestri said, it would require us to work with all 3 of our bargaining units from that end. But, if, like I say, if the trend continues and our foundation aid flattens off, we don't get the increases, and yet our expenses increase exponentially, that would be an area that we would want to look at.
Hey, Don, I see that on March 1st, our final tax cap calculation was due to the state. Can you tell me what that is?
We're going to get there.
You're-
We're going to get
Okay,
there.
I'll wait.
Okay. So again, this is just an update on the revenue side from the state aid perspective. This was a chart that I shared with you in February. Again, I just want to draw your attention to that first line, the basic foundation aid. If you look the 25-26 school year, the school year that we are in, presently, we are anticipating getting a little over 26, almost $26.8 million in foundation aid, which represented an increase from the 24-25 school year of nearly $3.2 million. Our projection in the executive run projection for our state aid is $27.2 million, which is a $423,000 increase from the current year. So if you go year over year, we are at a deficit of an overall increase of about $2.4 million in foundation aid. So those are numbers that we're looking at. The consultant firm that you authorized us to use tonight, School Aid Specialists, will help us kind of through that to make sure that our data is true, to make sure that everything that we report to the state is accurate, and to see if there's any areas that we have missed out on, particularly expense-driven aids, that we might be able to recoup. So honestly, we're looking at everything from that end of things. And then the last piece of it is in the red there, the BOCES aid line. We got 2 updates since our last meeting in February. We get a BOCES tax cap exclusion for rent that we pay for other facilities, and that was updated. So we had to tweak the tax cap a little bit, but they also provided us with a projection on BOCES aid. In February, we had that estimated at $2 million. It's actually going to be closer to 1.8. So we lost about $200,000 in BOCES aid overall from that end of things. So the tax cap. So this is the tax cap. When we met in February, if you remember, we had the tax cap included. We do have tax cap exclusions. It included just the 4 large electric buses that we were purchasing or intended to purchase. We had some conversations about diesel buses and purchasing diesel buses because, as you know, this is the 26-27 school year represents the last time under the current mandate that districts are allowed to purchase diesel buses. So we felt as though that we needed to take advantage of that. We made a recommendation to you for purchases of buses that we've now included into the tax cap. So when we met the last time, our tax cap was about 1.47%. We've added the purchase of buses, which is a tax cap exclusion, to our tax cap calculation. So our tax cap calculation now includes the purchases of 4 large electric passenger buses at $164,000 each, 3 large diesel passenger buses at $183,796 each. I just want to draw your attention to that. You'll see that the net cost to the district on the electric buses, because of the grant funding that we've received from the EPA and NYSERDA, is less than that of a diesel bus. I just want to make sure everybody understands that from that end of things. It also includes to the purchase of 2 small wheelchair passenger buses at $161,000 each and 1 small passenger diesel bus at $133,000. So in the end, our tax cap calculation comes out to 3.3%.
Can I just ask you, do we have small wheelchair electric, or have we not gotten that?
They have
far?
not been made. Chassis for those vehicles have not been made yet. So a closer look at our overall revenue, based upon where we sit right now with the increase in the tax cap, as we talked about. Our revenue projection right now is $107,909,605, an increase of a little over $2.3 million. 1.1 million of that is straight bus purchases. The rest of that is, overall expenses. So our revenue year over year looks to go up about 2.2%. So on the expense side, if you remember, in February, we did have a budgetary gap of about almost $1.2 million. So we did do a little work and we went back and took a look at the overall budget to see from an operational standpoint, more so than anything else, as to where we could look to trim some money. So we did find $60,000 from the Office of Instruction budget. We did trim about $240,000 from the BOCES participation budget. We went through various vendor contract lines and trimmed off about $115,000. And then we do have some business office savings relative to salaries of about $40,000. So we have realized in the budget, in this snapshot of the budget, about $455,000 in savings, line by line, in the budget.
Mr. Feldman, could you explain what those lines, the BOCES participation changes are?
Sure. Generally around long-term suspension seats. From that end of things, Dr. Genestri, we've met with the building admin teams at the high school. BOCES is funny in that you have to purchase long-term suspension seats. They are your seats. If you do not use them, you are still charged for them. So we felt, and I'll let Dr. Nestor speak a little bit to it, we felt as though that we could work on a program here in the high school to do something different than what the BOCES program did, because those seats, we had 5 seats in the long-term suspension program, and those were about, I want to say close to $55,000. No, sorry, $35,000 a kid. From that.
So that was a big line item and we didn't fill those seats. So that was an easy kind of decision to make and working with the admin team to do that. So
Can you explain that? What are we paying $35,000 for?
to hold 5 seats at, I think it was Edge Academy.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
sir. Okay, I
Yes.
see.
So further, Mr. Johnson, to your point, there was some reduction in BOCES staff development days. There was some reduction in an Engage Academy, which is an online academy for suspended kids. And then there was some reduction in days relative to Leader in Me. We felt as though more so at the district level, that with all of our schools being lighthouse schools, that, we could do some of the training on our own.
Okay. And as far as the long-term suspension, I'm assuming that our own records are showing we're not, obviously you said the seats aren't being used.
Yeah, we're using a couple of them, but not all 5. And then we worked with admin to figure out an alternative to that here. So we're confident that we won't need those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also help us with busing then if we're not sending.
That was,
Okay.
yes,
Yep.
yes, it will.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Next slide, Dr. Genestri, please. So, and we talked a little bit about these before, but in the executive proposal right now, there is a proposal for increased UPK funding for the district. Right now, the district has 2 grants, one a UPK grant, general UPK grant of $710,000, and then a UPK expansion grant of $540,000. This number is an addition over and above that. It's $690,000 of additional funding for a UPK program. It is very much an initiative of the governor and her administration to make sure that every district has full-day UPK programs across the state. We are very fortunate that we are in the throes of that. From that end of things, and that money would essentially equate to, with all of the grant money, that we would receive about $10,000 a student for instruction. So we've applied that money and that savings in the snapshot of today's budget to salaries for aides, retirement contributions, system contributions, and federal taxes. Yes.
So to Mr. Feldman's point, by 2028, the governor in the budget is looking to require full-day UPK across districts. I think we're very fortunate here that we did that work 3-4 years ago, and that we brought those UPK students in-house, and they're with our teachers. And then with the additional funding and additional rooms eventually coming to Maplemere, we'll look to bring other sections back because we have a spacing issue now. However, there's a lot of talk about, this has been a very controversial add to the governor's budget because a lot of districts don't do what Sweet Home does with their UPK. A lot of them farm it out and use a CBO to save costs on teachers. I don't believe in that. I think our UPK program has been extremely valuable, and we'd like to keep that going. So while we're happy about this awarded grant, I think it's tenuous to say the least, based on what I'm hearing from other districts who are lobbying to have some of that UPK funding pushed into foundation aid. So we'll have to see, again, data that we need to make some decisions down the road that we just don't have right now. And hopefully by April 1st, we will know that. But very proud of the work of UPK here and what we've done to bring it in-house. And we want to keep that going. But not most districts don't do it the way Sweet Home does.
Do we, how many kids are in our UPK?
192.
And are any kids turned away?
No. No, it's our goal, not our goal, it's our mandate to not turn a student away for UPK.
So again, the last two bullet points there, we did talk with you about the possibility of adding 2 exceptional classrooms. One of the things that we've talked to you about this a lot over the course of the last 3 years, we've seen our out-of-district tuition for high-need special education students increase by over $3.2 million in 3 years, and it's not enough. It's just not enough money. We've not been able to, we've been able to service all of the kids. It's just, we've not been able to really get a hard and fast number on that because we've seen a lot of high need students move into the district over the course of that time. So we feel as though that by adding these 2 additional exceptional classrooms, that we can provide services for those high need students at a far lower rate than what might be charged as an out-of-district placement. And that would include all of the services that the children are entitled to. That would include new staff, that would include aides and things along those lines. It's just, we've not been able to, I'm just speaking frankly, we've not been able to keep up with the increasing costs with out-of-district placements for our highest need students.
So these needs of the students, are they emotional needs or are we talking physical needs? Or is it a mix? I mean,
Be a mix.
like the 2 classrooms, would we be talking autistic classrooms or would they be?
Well, is it 2 classrooms per? Or just?
Classroom total for the
Total.
district.
Or-
So we're still working on that now, where they would go. There would be a mix of needs. This is mainly kindergarten age students that we would otherwise have to send out. And so we are looking to keep those kindergarten age students here in the district in those 2 rooms. We realize with the help of special programs, we're identifying those students now. And we'll get the supports in place. Even when we put the supports in place, to educate their students here, we're still seeing a significant savings. So we're working with the building principals right now on the space. The conversations are going well, and we're planning to, with your green light, move forward on these rooms and make sure, we always first and foremost want to keep our students here. So that it accomplishes that, but it also accomplishes a significant savings to us. Same thing, and I know Don didn't talk about this with our own OT-PT staff, much more control over the staff and not farming that out, bringing them in-house. As well, so that would be 7 personnel. I believe it's 2 PT, 5 OTs that would bring to the district and realize a significant savings there as well and make them Sweet Home employees. So
Love the
it's a win-win.
idea of having our own staff a little bit more, bringing our kids back, having our OT-PT staff. There was some point that we talked about having possibly extra space where other districts could put their kids in. Did that ever come to fruition or were we just too full?
Too full. Two full, yeah. Now, on occasion, if there's a special service and there's an opening, we could contract with that other district to do that. But spacing is an issue.
So these would be 2 kindergarten classrooms. We're not sure where yet.
811s, no, not sure where yet. but yes.
811s,
Yes.
okay. So are we keeping our PT/OT speech at the same levels at the classroom?
They might have, we're evaluating that now, they may have to increase. So, which again, still brings significant savings to us. So we will, evaluate that. We've had plenty of meetings with, Mrs. Barilari, and making sure that, any student that goes, we're evaluating who's going in those rooms. We will meet their needs, in those rooms.
Is the goal to add to that if possible? I mean, I know you can't project what we're gonna do next year or the year after that, but is the goal to continue to bring more kids back?
We're always looking every year to bring keep our students here. I will say that. Now we're watching enrollment, and just this week, we're seeing some spikes. Our population is more and more transient. And so, while we're getting 10 in, we're getting 3 out, and we're seeing spikes just this week. I think I had a conversation with Mrs. Delaplante today about that. 6 more at Glendale just this week, and it's hard to manage right in the middle of a year when and what services those students would get, and finding additional services. But we got to meet the mandates. We got to meet the IEP needs for it. And so we continue to see heavy fluctuation, I think, but an increase in enrollment as we move throughout the year. When enrollment goes up, it's a good problem to have, I always say. But there comes a lot of management with that.
Ms. Anthony, I would also just say from a budgetary perspective, again, it goes back to kind of what we talked about with Ms. Jason with health insurance. The special education budget, again, on a $108 million budget is about almost $12 million. So it has significant impact on our budget overall. And any cost saving measures that we can look at potentially implementing would be something that I think, and I don't want to speak for Dr. Dinestri, but I think that we would be very interested in exploring.
We might get some relief when the new BOCES facility opens from a financial perspective. But that 450, that's a significant number. It goes to show the increases in tuition and what the numbers have been over the past even 10 years. The significant increases from anywhere from $50,000 to $180,000. And that number continues to go up.
I just want to call attention to the one thing that you did say, Don, when you quoted a number and you said that is inclusive of speech OT PT services that student would need. So when you're calculating savings, it is inclusive of those personnel within that calculation. Because I think there's a concern that like we're bringing these kids back and we don't have the space, the equipment, the personnel to handle their needs. There's not, known if there's a plan in place for, okay, well, what happens next? Like when they age out of elementary school, will the middle school be able to handle that increased enrollment of those kids? What happens when they hit the high school? So.
Yeah, Katie Barilari has been great with us on that. And so we're going student by student and planning that out.
As far as I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
As far as a timeline for making the decision where the students will go, and what are you thinking?
Well, if you give us the green light, we're gonna continue. We're gonna work on that starting tomorrow and finalize that. So I'm not gonna promise by next week we'll have answers on that, but certainly by the April meeting we'll have answers on that.
Okay. Yeah, first a statement. I love this idea. I think it's great. I'm glad to see we can save some money. Obviously, we've each heard from at least a few of these people who are currently in the jobs over the last couple of weeks as to their thoughts on it. And I might be premature with this question, but do you think the majority of them would come right to Sweet Home and step away from their agency?
You are a little probably premature. I've gotten the same feedback that the board has gotten from people. We are hard at work trying to figure out kind of what that sweet spot is from a financial, obviously, scenario for those folks to try and get them to come here from that end of things. I think that there's a good portion that would. I just don't know from collectively, how the whole group would feel.
Thank you. I know this morning, Ms. Anton and Dr. Janestra and I happened to be at Glendale, and we heard a lot. We actually talked to the therapist there, and we heard how much they love her there. So I'm hoping she would come over.
Yeah, hopefully we get to that point, and that would be good.
Thank you.
So unless there's an objection, we'll get to work on this starting tomorrow and see if we can fill these spots.
Mr. Lively, look at you had a question.
Yeah, it was on the revenue side. I noticed I think it was last month, the reports on the reserve accounts with M&T, and I think it's Chase, maybe
Yep.
the other one.
Mhm.
The interest rate was around 2%, but the new group that has more of the general reserve was giving us almost 4.
Correct.
I'm just wondering, because that's like about 90, like when I just did kind of math off the cuff, could be like $70,000 to $90,000 additional interest. Are we looking at moving more to that?
We have moved a bunch over, and you'll probably see that in the next revenue report. But we've also just purchased about $1 million worth of T-bills as well, at about, I think the number was around 3.6%, somewhere in that neck of the woods. But we are, the relationship with 3+1 has been great to kind of help us to maximize our revenues. So yes, so we are investing as much as we can. Obviously, cash flow is an issue, but we are trying to invest as much as we can to recoup, to gain revenue.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. All right, so quickly, this would give you a snapshot as to where we are presently. So as I mentioned earlier on, in the presentation, we do have a revenue projection as we sit tonight of a little over $107.9 million, which represents an increase of about 2.2%. You'll see that the local tax levy amount right now is now $56,283,605, which is a 3.3% increase. And then on the expenditure side, we're about $108,807,000 in terms of expenses, which is a budgetary increase of about 3.1%. And we presently sit tonight at a deficit of about $898,000. So we've made improvement from where we were in February of about 1.2 million. But as we've indicated, Dr. Genestri as well, there's a lot of things that we're waiting on that do have significant impact to the budget. So if you hit the next slide, we can talk about this piece of it. I know that our community, no, go ahead. You were right. The community does appreciate this. This is kind of a snapshot as to where we would be with a 3.3% tax cap increase on an average home. So again, I just caution everybody, this is using assessment values for this current school year. We won't get assessments for next school year until the summertime. The Amherst equalization rate is at 99%. The Tonawanda equalization rate is at 21%. I would expect that those would both change. But this gives you a pretty good idea as to where we would be in terms of an overall tax bill on an average home of $250,000. This budget would translate to a tax rate of $10.01 per thousand for the town of Amherst, which would translate to a tax bill of $2,477, which is an increase year over year of $79. On the Tonawanda side, similar home at a 21% equalization rate would translate to a tax bill of $47.30 or a tax bill of $2,483, also a year-to-year increase of $79. And that would require, where we are right now, at the tax cap, that falls at the tax cap, which would mean that the budget vote in May would require just a simple majority. It would require one more yes vote, then no vote for it to pass. And then the last couple of things, just from our next steps, Obviously, the next piece of it is, and the biggest piece of it is, the staffing plan. Once we have this information in on the trust as well as on any impacts with state aid, interest income, sales tax income, we can start to really hone in on that staffing plan. And then hopefully we'll have some information more on the service employees contract and other negotiations there. And then we'll take a look at, further more about the use of federal funds in terms of salaries and benefits and things along those lines. And if we can utilize more of those to help us maybe potentially offset any further impact or deficit. Again, state aid, hopefully by April 1st, we'll have information on that end in terms of where we sit with foundation aid. Sales tax comes in at the end of March, as well as our interest. We'll have an idea from that end of things. And then the last piece of it is the biggest piece of it, in my mind's eye, is that information on the New York 44 Trust and our health insurance contribution. If it comes in at a double-digit number, we're going to have some more work to do. But, we'll have to work through that. Obviously, we have to present to you in April 14th, to be specific, a balanced budget. So with that, I would ask if you have any other questions.
I just had one going back to the cap. It looked like you used, or they tell you to use an inflation rate of 2.5%. Am I right in that?
No, the tax cap, there's two pieces that are given to us from the state. The tax-based growth factor is given to us from the state. Our tax-based growth factor this year was 1.0025%. And then the growth, the year over year allowable growth is 2%. Or CPI, which is whatever the lesser is. So this year it was 2%.
So CPI is much higher than that.
CPI that they use to gauge the growth. I think if I remember correctly from the February meeting, it was around 2.7 or 2.8%.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman.
Mr. Feldman. And then just a couple quick updates for the board. The High School Musical is this weekend. There are 3 shows, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday is at 7:30, Saturday is at 7:30, and Sunday is at 2 p.m. You can get your tickets if you click on this presentation, but it's on our website as well. A lot of hype around the SpongeBob musical and how our students are going to pull this off. We're very excited to see it. And it should be an awesome time, as it always is at the High School Musical. So this weekend, hope to see our entire community come out, support our students, but really curious to see SpongeBob the musical. Didn't know there was a SpongeBob musical until Sweet Home decided to do it. So it's
Dr. Genestri, if I might, you could really make a full day of it on Saturday and come to the craft show and then go to the musical. So, if you're glutton for punishment on the craft show end of it, musical's going to be great. Craft show.
yeah.
My own editorial comment.
Sell out again this year, the craft show?
Say again?
We sold out again this year?
Oh, yeah. 110 of my friends are going to be there.
Outstanding. All right. This weekend, we have, this Friday, we have our superintendent's conference day. Dr. Wilson and her team have been planning for months. We're going to have basically a la carte, and not only in offerings, but food trucks will be available for our staff that will be here on Friday. And so 61 different offerings offered at the school, at the district that teachers can take and have a choice to do. There will be food trucks from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the high school bus loop. And of course, the board is invited. And then the community organizations fair will be in the main hallway from 11:45 to 12:50 on Friday. So if you are around and want to grab some great food and pop into some sessions, questions, you are more than welcome to do that. I don't know, Dr. Wilson, if you wanted to add anything to this?
Well, the food trucks are open to the entire community, so if you are looking for a spot to get lunch and you want to bring some folks with you, please do. And the community fair will also be open. So you'll find a range of different workshops. I know some of you were looking at some of them. There's some interesting
Legos.
ones, some wellness balance ones, right? As well as our instructional focus. So you got the whole range, but there are many teachers stepping in to present and they're excited about a different way to engage in the learning. So there's a pickleball tournament or
So really appreciate everybody that is stepping up to do a presentation and to do a session, and really a big inclusive day. And so we're excited about it. And Mr. Belanti has his superintendent conference day. He just whispered to me that he'll be doing curriculum mapping all day. So
come over and grab lunch.
yes, you can grab lunch over here.
I'm at the BOCES Center, so there is Dave's Kitchen there that I'm not going to complain about.
That's
There you
pretty good. They are pretty
I can't complain about that, but yes.
And then I just wanted to finish tonight. I know Mr. Johnson and I, and many members of the Sweet Home community attended the memorial service for a former teacher, Angie Camiso, who was here 23 years in the district. And I did not get to work with her very long, but she was really one of the first teachers I met in my first week here when I did a Maple Mirror community walk. And I walked in the front foyer and she grabbed my arm and said, "You're coming with me," and took me to and I didn't realize at the time that she wasn't at Maple Mirror very long. I knew she spent a lot of time at the middle school, but you would never know it because she knocked on everybody's door and knew everybody by name, and introduced me to all the families that she had on her list that day. And I know what I'm saying doesn't do it justice about the impact that she made here at Sweet Home and everybody that she came across. It was standing room only of, I can't even estimate, probably 600-700 people in that room that day at the chapel. And Mr. Ryan, I have to say, spoke that day and spoke tremendously and eloquently about not Angie, the teacher, but Angie, the person. And I wish I could have worked with her longer here. I know our time was short together, but she made a tremendous impact on the thousands of students that came across her door. But they talked about everything from the baked goods that she would bring in to the smile on her face every single day. And tremendous loss for the Sweet Home community, tremendous loss for all of us in Western New York. And just wanted to say that to her family, we're of course grateful that we had her here, and sorry for their loss. And it was a tremendous memorial service, and she will be missed.
Can I just say something real
course.
quick? At our PTA meeting, Mr. Ryan gave us something that kind of was the essence of her. And if you would have just indulged me while I read it real
Please.
quick. This was from Angela Camiso, 2122 grade K. Good evening. Today was a very emotional day. I will forever remember this kind, spirited, and loving group of students. I've said and continue to say to all my colleagues, my family and friends, this is the most amazing class in my 20+ years of teaching. I hope you all enjoyed your day as much as I did by starting with the celebration of these beautiful 5- and 6-year-olds. Celebrate them every chance you get. As a mom of a 14-year-old going into high school, I cannot believe how things pass you by. Pause and then love them. You are amazing parents and should be so proud. That kind of just described her. Yes.
If I might just quickly, I also want to thank Mr. Ryan and Michelle Dorbiella, who also gave some wonderful eulogies, because when in my meetings of Angie, was just in her classroom a few times and seeing her mostly as a teacher, obviously, they put the life behind her about what a wonderful woman she was, and what a big loss it is to the Sweet Home community. I want to thank them both for doing a wonderful job with that.
And that's what I have for tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Genestri. Any questions? Okay, moving on to upcoming events. I know spring sports at the high school started this weekend or this week, yesterday. So good luck to all of our spring teams, and we do have a lot of honors from our winter sports teams, which we will be doing, I believe, in April sometime. We have a lot of elementary and high school, the PTA, PTO meetings coming up, obviously the musical. Glendale has a lot of events happening over the next couple of weeks. McTeacher Night, a Scholastic Book Fair, Literacy Night, Maple Mirror as well, and Heritage Heights a night at the library at the middle school, a couple other book fairs going on, which leads us to the beginning of April, which April 3rd through 10th will be our spring recess. And then April 10th, when we come at the end of that recess, is our Dollars for Scholars meat raffle. I cannot forget that, Mr. Feldman. I will keep mentioning that for you. So that leads us to our open session. Per board policy 1510, this open session is for topics related to tonight's agenda. Does anyone like to speak? Mr. Ryan? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Belanti. Thank you for all those who came out and supported Angie's celebration of life this past Tuesday. Just would ask the district and the board to consider, memorializing Angie's contribution to the district, not only at our building, but also at the middle school. When we do have our new wing, we think there should definitely be something there that recognizes her contributions, not only in our building, but all throughout the district. So certainly one of the most talented educators, but I would also probably say having the pleasure of working in 3 different schools in this district, easily one of the most impressive human beings that I've ever had the opportunity to work with and know. So again, thank you so much for your support and your consideration in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to our new business. We will be voting on our new business next week. Just to run through them. A is rules for use of our optic scanning voting machines during our district budget vote. B is our annual public hearing and district vote, policy 1610. Any questions on those? C is our special education placements and preschool class placements.
How did I end up as C instead of A like I always?
You can take that up with
I'll take
Fallon.
it up. Sorry, Fallon. No, that's okay. C, I have 256 pages to get through, so I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Thank you. Monthly financial reports, policy 2140. Disposal of obsolete property, I believe that is a lot of tech, old printers, computers, iPads, that kind of stuff.
That's correct.
Okay. Our bid, policy 5410, we have 3 bids: commercial printing envelopes and forms, special paper and others. Our commercial printing for our school calendar, and our commercial printing for our Sweet Home Source magazine.
Is that the same printer for the calendar as last year? Because I think we had some issues.
Yeah, we'll make
Put
sure. we
spring
don't
break
have-
in November on my calendar that I got in the mail, so,
Yes.
okay.
Could you refresh my memory? Is the calendar out for next year already? Do we?
We're working on that now, Mr. Raymond. We have a calendar committee that is assembling, that includes district office and membership from the 3 units, that will hash it out, and we'll have it to you. I think we got to have it to you by the April meeting.
April, okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to letter G is capital improvement project phase 1, hazardous material and survey testing. I'm glad we're actually like moving into the capital projects. It's exciting.
We are.
We did have our athletic council meeting today, so that was.
Here we go.
Yeah.
H is our overnight field trip request by Mr. Murphy to take students to Germany in August. I is our policy 1410 second reading.
Great. Sorry, I was just saying that's great. They're going to.
Yes.
He's done that for
Years.
decades now, and well, you would think he was doing it for the first time when he came to meet with me the other day. He has every I dotted, every T crossed. I mean, everything from insurance to where students will stay. It's all planned. He is just wonderful with this trip, and we're really lucky to have him.
What are we doing with participation in the class itself, languages? It was at the level, the fourth year that we were struggling a little with.
Yeah, so he's actually retired and he's come back to help us out. So we are unfortunately phasing out German because it's just difficult to find a German teacher at this point. So Spanish and French will continue here, and we'll continue to support that. There has been talk. I know Mr. Johnson and I have talked quite a bit about adding Arabic. That's our second leading language here in the district. So again, finding a teacher and doing that's going to be difficult, but those are always on the radar. It's important to have foreign language.
There's no chorus of requests for Latin anymore, is there?
There should be, but no.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Advocate for Italian too, but
American Sign Language.
yeah.
J is contract for iPads, laptops with Apple Inc. And K is our designee for an impartial hearing officer appointment, which I believe we voted on already. Are there any questions, comments about our new business that we'll be voting on next week?
Can I just, that impartial hearing officer, we're looking to add a kind of a note to the board allowing. the
Oh, yeah,
president-
that's sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Allowing the president and in the president's absence, the vice president to appoint an independent hearing officer if we get a due process complaint from a family. That would expedite the process because we have to turn that around in 24 hours. So instead of calling the entire board in for a meeting, this would allow the president and or the vice president to sign off on the hearing officer. It's a procedure.
That's what this resolution is?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, we voted on the hearing officer for our case earlier this evening. This is
Changes.
a change to, yeah,
Subsequent.
yes.
Okay. All right, I got it. Thank you.
All right, open session number 2, policy 1510. Would anyone like to address the board? You would have 3 minutes. Please state your name, address, and relationship to Sweet Home. Jonathan?
Hello, my name is Jonathan Makeley. I live at 5 Durham Drive. I'm a community member. I'd like to speak a bit in regards to the matters regarding the budgeting process. From what we can see, this year appears it'll be a rather challenging year for budgeting and trying to make the numbers work. And for that, I'd like to briefly express my hope that going forward as this is working on that to continue to focus on the importance of prioritizing meeting the needs of students, providing key programming, and maintaining good support for the teachers and staffs in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Anybody else? Okay, which leads us to personnel. We'll be voting on personnel appointments next week. One is teacher and administrative. We have a resignation, a couple of appointments, a leave of absence, a reinstatement from a leave, and a co-curricular activities change, right? I believe that's the weight rooms. And then substitutes, long-term substitutes appointments, and then 2 is service. Again, couple of resignations, some regular appointments, so leave of absence and reinstatement of leave of absences. Any questions on personnel? Any other business for the greater good of the board? Questions? All right. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
So moved?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week.